Well, less than a year ago, he astonished the political world when he romped to victory in the Labour leadership contest. And today, Jeremy Corbyn was in Brighton facing a leadership election again, and a party tearing itself apart after losing the confidence of his fellow Labour MPs.
Well, he enjoys strong support from Labour Party members, but there are doubts that Mr Corbyn can secure crucial votes in the South East to win a general election. I spoke to him a few moments ago from a rally in Brighton, and I asked him how he intends on winning back support for Labour in the South East.
Well, Labour lost a lot of support after the '97 election, and in the last general election, whilst we did have a number of very good policies, basically what we were offering was a continuation of a public sector pay freeze and continuation of cuts in a lot of public services. We are now a party that is opposed to the political choice of austerity that's been made by this government. We have defeated them when they tried to cut working tax credits and to take away personal independence payments for those with disabilities. We're a party that recognises in the modern world an economy has to be one that works for all, not the few, and the growing gap between the richest and poorest is unhealthy in any society and desperately wrong in a moral sense.
But your last leader, Ed Miliband, tried to move the party. Your last leader, Ed Miliband, tried to move the party to the left, and he was roundly rejected down here. You've only got one seat in the South East.
We're putting forward a coherent, intelligent economic strategy for this country that will also deal with the abuse of our tax system by those that take to avoid it, by putting money into tax havens, those that simply don't pay enough. Listen, those that have worked for BHS, given their lives to BHS, losing their jobs. Those in Lloyd's Bank losing their jobs despite that bank making a lot of profits. These are issues of grave concern that must be addressed, and we will address them.
Would your party, your supporters within the party, move to deselect your only Labour MP in the South East, Peter Kyle in Brighton?
What goes on in constituency parties is part of a democratic process. I'm not a leader that wants to interfere in the running of every constituency party or all aspects of the party. We're a party of well over 500,000 members, 3 times the size of the Conservative Party, as a matter of fact. And that is great, and it's good that there's democracy in the party, and it's good that there's an interaction politically within the party.
So
that is surely something that's healthy about a democracy where people are participating.
You wouldn't move to condemn those who would choose to deselect an MP who won for Labour against a Conservative, against the odds, in a seat like Hove?
Look, there's going to be new boundaries anyway before any selections can take place. We've no idea what those boundaries are going to be. There will then have to be a selection process at that time. That is what political democracy is about. It's not about me telling people what to do and what to think.
On the issue of Brexit and immigration, the South East strongly backed Brexit. Many voters will have supported that pledge to bring immigration down to the tens of thousands. What is your position on the figures for immigration? What figures would you suggest, what level would you suggest that immigration needs to be at?
Well, half the immigration that's come in the past few years has been from outside Europe anyway, through work permit systems, students, family reunion, number of issues. Some of the rest has been people coming from other parts of Europe. If we're in the single market, it's very difficult to see how you can actually control that, except by ending the degrees of exploitation of workers, and therefore I've supported, and eventually the British government agreed to support, the Posting of Workers Directive, which prevents the undercutting of local agreements and local wage rates by imported labour. When that is fully implemented, which I hope eventually it will be, that will actually have a big effect and a big impact on the numbers.
Okay, Jeremy Corbyn, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's go to our political editor, Helen Catt, who's live at that rally in Brighton. Helen, Mr Corbyn does recognise that he needs to win support, widespread support, in places like Hastings, the Medway towns and Gravesend, Gravesham, if Labour are to regain power at a national level.
Yes, he does. I mean, particularly given the party's performance in Scotland in the general election last year, perhaps now the South East is perhaps more important than ever before. So he does need to win again in places that New Labour did well in. Of course, though, he has a very different offer here. You heard him say there about some of the things that he says he will tackle that, you know, really will strike a chord, I think. Things like housing, the economy, jobs, that kind of thing. And people who are angry at government cuts, they may buy into that message. We expect him later this evening at this rally to say that he thinks that Southern Rail, for example, should be stripped of its franchise and the railways renationalised. So he is talking about the issues that matter. The thing for voters will be, is he the man that they think can do it? Now, Owen Smith says no, but we were out talking to Vox Popping this afternoon in Brighton. People were saying to us, well, actually, we like his ideas, we like him. Would you vote for him? No.
Thanks, Helen.
Good evening. The leader of the Labour Party has demanded that Southern Rail be renationalised. Jeremy Corbyn was attending a packed rally in Brighton this evening. He said that he was angry that the company had sought to blame the unions for the service, which has been beset by strikes, with a 5-day walkout planned on Monday.
If one rail minister can resign over the running of Southern, I think it's time for the Secretary of State to either intervene or take the whole company back into public ownership so it can be publicly run for the benefit of everybody along that line.
Well, before Mr Corbyn arrived in Brighton, we asked people in the city who were not attending the rally if they would be likely to vote for him.
I think Jeremy Corbyn has brilliant ideas, quite socialistic and healthy ideas for the nation. However, I don't think he's electable.
I just don't like his policies, like his anti-nuclear policy. I'm not a fan. I think it's refreshing to have a politician that doesn't look like all the rest.
Do you like the fact he's different?
Yeah.
I like him, yeah.
Would you vote for him?
Probably not, no.
Corbyn, if I had to choose one, would be the one, but I'm not bothering that. Not for me.
The thoughts there of voters in Brighton today. Well, earlier Mr Corbyn told this programme that he wouldn't interfere if the local party in Hove chose to deselect Peter Kyle, the Labour's only MP here in the South East. There'll be more on that, of course, and all the other issues raised by Mr Corbyn on our Facebook pages and on BBC Sussex from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning with Dominic Busby.